Hey there, guys. I'm here with Tyler Callihan, former Providence High School baseball star and now in the Cincinnati Reds organization. Tyler, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Well, I'm excited to be having you on. I've been trying to find a way to get in contact and try to get you on for a little bit. Reached out in April, but you were at the alternate, extended spring training. But I'm glad to be talking to you now and see you're back on the baseball field. So that's great. How's that feel?
No doubt. Oh, it's been awesome. It's been so much fun being back in the game. Completely forgot what it was like when you're out for a year playing your whole life. It kind of just feels different, makes you put things into perspective, but it feels great to be out here playing.
Man, the world just won't let you play baseball for some reason. You have the COVID year, then you get to play 20 games, and man, but you're back and homered in your first at bat. That is great. And we'll get to that later on. I wanted to start off with some questions about you growing up here in Jacksonville and, what helped you to become the player that you are today. And I'm wondering, because I've talked to a lot of different guys and there's quite a mix. Some guys will be baseball fans who also enjoy baseball, or some will just enjoy playing the sport. Were you a baseball fan growing up, or were you one of those guys who just enjoyed playing?
Yeah, so my dad, as well as many of my family members, played baseball pretty much their whole life. My dad ended up playing one professional year with the Dodgers organization, so it's kind of been in the blood, in the family, kind of grew up around it. So from what I can remember, apparently my first word was ball. Like, I've always been around the sport, playing the game since forever. And I always enjoyed watching it on TV, whether it was to learn a little bit more, like see guys like from the Jacksonville area. Like when I was younger, I used to love watching Chipper Jones play. He's my favorite player. My dad played with him in high school at Bowles, so like I kind of had that connection there. And they talked on occasion, so I kind of got to meet him, and he definitely grew my love for the game. Just be able to talk to somebody of that stature and that's done so much for the game, that it definitely got me involved in continuing with my love for baseball. So,
Man, that's awesome.
no doubt. It was a really cool experience.
Yeah, Chipper is you can't help but love Chipper. He had a heck of a baseball career, and I really enjoy listening to him on ESPN. And then I know he played at Bulls, and I met some people who met one guy who coached against him, and it's kind of cool to hear those connections, and that's why I'm doing this podcast. There's so many guys that go on to be great from the Jacksonville area, and I love hearing their stories and talking with them about it. So were the Braves your favorite team growing up because of Chipper and everything?
Yeah, they were the only team I ever got to go watch a game at when I was younger. I'm pretty sure until I was like almost senior in high school. I think that was the only game I got to go watch. Maybe a few other ones at a couple different parks, but I was mainly at the Braves Stadium. So rooting on Chipper, watching him on TV kind of thing. So collecting all the baseball cards. I loved it.
Yeah, I've been to a good amount of Major League Baseball games, and it's always fun when you get to see your favorite players and your favorite team play. It's just, kind of different. I'm trying to get to all the ballparks we were trying to do it before I graduate, but that is not going to happen.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's some fun ones. I really enjoyed Globe Life Park in Texas. I'm disappointed that they got rid of it, but
Oh yeah, I never got to see that one.
Yeah, it was a crazy hot day though. It was over 100 at first pitch, and we were sitting in the upper deck right in the sun.
Oh gosh, yeah. Some of those parks can get pretty hot. Just I know that from playing in them, but
yeah, well, you play in Florida now, so I mean, you have your whole life, so I'm sure that helps you out a bit. Don't have to adjust to the heat. I was from Iowa at the time, moved down here a few years ago, and man, it took a while to adjust to this heat down here.
No doubt. We've had a couple of rainouts, and a day after it rain out in Florida, especially, the humidity just keeps going and it gets hotter and hotter. And we got a lot of guys from the north, the northwest, stuff like that. They just are not knowing how to deal with it. Their batting gloves are completely ruined, and those guys are still trying to adjust. But not gonna lie, after being in Arizona for a month, it's definitely different to be back here in the humidity. So,
well, yeah, that's just desert there.
Oh yeah, so dry out there.
Yeah, feels like temperature here was 105 degrees yesterday. So that was really something. Were you,
Yeah.
something I'm wondering is, were you just a baseball guy growing up, or did you play multiple sports?
So I played different sports like throughout middle school, and then when I got to high school, I pretty much focused on baseball. I used to play basketball, football, that whole thing. I love both the sports. I wasn't great at either one of them. I was a football player when I played basketball. When I was a football player, I kind of just went as hard as I could, and that was my game.
Yeah.
But no, baseball is definitely the one that stuck. So in high school, I decided to go towards it.
Yeah. It's turned out all right for you, I must say.
It's been all right. It's been fun.
Yeah. So, how early, the travel ball is a big topic of conversation, I feel like nowadays. I'm wondering, how early did you start on, the travel ball circuit over the summer?
Yeah. So I remember when I was younger, like before 12 years old, and I think even maybe, yeah, like around 10 years old, I was doing my all star, doing my stuff at our rec league back at home. And I'm pretty sure we had a solid group of kids. And then our coaches finally decided, hey, let's just go get a few more games and a few extra practices in. And that's when we started the whole summer circuit kind of thing. But that was still when I was like 12, maybe 13 years old. And it wasn't very serious at the time or anything like that. Well, back then, obviously, it felt like I was playing in the World Series every game. But no, I think I started seriously getting into travel ball when I was like 14, I think. I started playing up with a group that was like a grade above me. And so they were even more serious into it, traveling across the Southeast, kind of started crop traveling across the country when I got to like 16 years old, I would say. I got lucky enough to get picked on a pretty good team with a lot of other good players, prospects. So being around them helped out a great deal. And I think that's kind of when our summer circuit started going. And then from then on out, every summer was all day, every day baseball.
Yeah, I remember when I was younger, I really wanted to play travel ball. Like I was wanted to do more than just the rec league because all my friends played, and finally did. The thing that felt great for me is having a jersey that had my name on it. That was really cool.
For
But
sure.
yeah, I think, and I still got it with me. That I really enjoyed those times. And then, what were some big moments for you that kind of helped, like big moments or things that kind of paved the way for you to become a professional baseball player? When you were younger.
Oh, well, I think when I was younger, like I said, I got very fortunate to like watch kids that were a year, some even 2 years above me play baseball, and they played the game at such a elite level that it was exciting to watch. And it was every year it seemed like it was faster, it was more competitive, it was more intriguing to me. Like the thought of competition, the thought of all of that together was so much fun for me watching these guys play baseball. And so like I would say the first time, like my first biggest accomplishment that I remember where I was like, yeah, I want to keep doing this was when I was 12,
Yeah.
Cooperstown. I went to Cooperstown like 5 total times with a few different teams, just with some friends and stuff like that. And ended up we won it two times, and it was just both times were just surreal. I remember thinking it was so much fun, and I was on top of the world, like just with surrounded by all my friends, like 12-year-old us, like thinking it was the World Series. And at the time it was a blast. And from then on out, I just love the thrill of playing and competing and every day being a new day, that whole vibe. And it's just been so much fun ever since. So
Yeah, I've heard about the trip to Cooperstown a few times. It's on the bucket list for me. I'd love to visit the Hall of Fame. Um, and then you're the highest pick in Providence history. Getting forward to high school, you had a really successful time there. Can you talk a little bit about, of course, your time being at Providence, and I can imagine you had to feel that kind of pressure at times. Everyone knew your name. You were kind of one of the bigger area prospects. So how did you kind of deal with that weight being on your shoulders?
I would say there was really, as far as a weight on my shoulders, it was more just like you got to hold yourself to a standard. Like everybody's watching you play the game the right way, whether anybody's watching you or all of these people are watching you. It's still like you're playing as a 12-year-old. You want to run everything out. You want to play as hard as you can. You want to do all this stuff. And honestly, throughout high school, it made it easy having the coaching staff that we have with Coach Mack and Coach Murphy and all of those guys. They were great dudes, and they really encourage you to play the game the right way, run balls out, play hard, dive for balls. Once you kind of realize that it's just outside of the fence doesn't matter, and it's just what's happening in the game. Like, you're playing hard, you're playing for your team, you're trying to win, you're trying to do everything you can in your power. And when you got coaching staff like that and teammates like I did, like, we had a lot of high level guys that knew how to play the game well, and it made it easy because everybody was the same way as I was. They just wanted to win. They just wanted to play. And so, like, you kind of weren't thinking about everything else that was going on. You were just playing for the guy behind you or the guy in front of you that you wanted to perform just as well as you were.
Yeah, high school. I got to Providence for the first time this year. I broadcast for Creekside Baseball, and that's a really nice facility. Broadcast the game up on the bleachers down the first baseline, get a bird's eye view of it all. But looking back on those days, what would you say you miss the most about playing high school baseball?
Oh, honestly, you were talking about the weight being on your shoulders and stuff. I would say that was the time where there was the least amount of weight on your shoulders. It was just you go to school that day, you hang out with your buddies, you go to practice, you hang out with your buddies, and it was just all 100%. Like, we were just happy, happy to be there, happy to be playing. Like, I still, of course I am now, but back then I just remember it was like all of your best friends, like the kids you hung out with every day at school, the kids you hung out with every day after school. Like, it was just so much fun. So I would say I miss being with my friends like that, being able to go out there and just play together, because now all my best friends have gone to a bunch of different teams, and it's going to be fun to play them eventually. But having that time where you can play with the guys that you're truly yourself around, you're truly amazing, like the guys that know you, it's something you can't take for granted. It was really fun.
Yeah, and have you played with, guys that have you ended up playing against them at further levels yet, or are they, you know?
Not necessarily any of my Providence friends. I've played with kids that I played with on travel balls, stuff like that, but I haven't been able to compete against anybody from Providence. But I have competed against some guys from like Trinity or other opposing schools that I'm like, oh, hey, like, I used to face you in high school and here we are. So
Yeah.
that's definitely been a cool part of the game. That's what I think I like about baseball, professional baseball. Probably the best is just you meet so many different guys that all the guys are there for the same reason. One common goal in mind is to make it to the big league. So you get a bunch of really talented baseball players together with the same goal in mind, and you can make something really special. And I think it's fun to be able to keep up with those guys, just like you keep up with your high school friends. Like, I'm hoping to play against my best friend, Nathan Hickey, that went to Providence as well. And he's with the Red Sox organization. I can't wait to play against him one day. And it's just the whole camaraderie of the game of baseball, whichever side of the dugout you're on, everybody's there for the same reason. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. Hickey, I was just looking at his page the other night, seeing how he was doing. I love trying to check in. There's so many players that come out of here, and it's really fun to follow you guys. And think, hey, they live right over there. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And all that. Do you know Austin Martin at all?
Yeah, Amar. Yeah, I remember him and I him, and Hickey would go out by a little field by Trinity. I'm not sure which one, and we would do home run derby contest when we were like sophomores, juniors in high school, and it was so much fun. We would play wiffle ball out there. It was good times.
Now I'm looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah. Amar's a great dude, great hitter. So
yeah, and then once it came draft time that year, you were a South Carolina commit, and so you had to choose between going to whoever picked you, which ended up being the Reds, or heading over to college like your friend Hunter Barco did. What ended up making you decide, hey, I think I'm ready, it's time to go play pro ball?
Oh, that's a good question. So I obviously committed to South Carolina when I was younger with the intentions of going to University of South Carolina to play baseball. And when the Reds came with me their offer, it was something I really thought about. And at that point, I was decided I was ready to play. I trusted my instincts. I trusted my ability. I felt like I was mature enough to get my journey started in professional baseball. And I think the biggest question that it came down to for me, the one I kept asking myself before the draft was, if I trust myself to be able to go to college and I can perform well, then why should I not trust myself to be able to go to professional baseball and perform well? Which at that point I decided I definitely trusted myself, my abilities and my abilities to adjust to pitching. And I knew there was going to be some struggles, and obviously there will be in baseball. It's a game of failure, and I think I was ready to be able to manage those failures and adjust to get back into the game. So I decided it was right, what was right for me, and I'm definitely excited about my decision still.
Yeah, I can't imagine, making that transition to, from high school to college just like that. And I mean, high school to pros just like that. Sorry. Um,
Mhm.
what was the biggest thing that you had to adjust to? I mean, getting up to that speed consistently, seeing 90s, how did you work on adjusting to that?
What I would say was the biggest difference my rookie year that I noticed was in high school, Coach Mack at Providence would always schedule the best of the best in Florida. The best, if he saw a good arm, a good pitcher, he would call that school and have them pitch against us. He always wanted us to play the best of the best. And so I think in high school, I got a lot of really good exposure through high school baseball as well as travel baseball, the velocity and overall good pitchers. But I think the biggest difference that when I went to pro ball was everybody that you faced was their best pitcher in high school. Everybody that you faced, like you'd have a starter come out, and in high school, the starter would be the best pitcher. And then as soon as he's out of the game, you have some other reliever that you're just going to hit pretty easily. And then in pro ball, the starter comes out of the game, and there's someone better than him every inning until the end of the game. So I think that was the biggest difference of adjustments. But once you play a few games, you have a few games under your belt, it kind of all just runs together, and it's like the same thing. So you kind of get a better look at it. But I definitely feel like I was able to adjust pretty quickly my first few years, and ready to keep making adjustments because that's what this game's all about.
Absolutely. And, you know, I always wonder because you're getting in to face these guys who throw 90, some up to upper 90s, even 100. What is the mental side? Like, what is your mental state like stepping into the box, getting ready to face 90-mile-an-hour heat and then some nasty curveball up in the 80s?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That's a question that every baseball player tries to find for themselves, and I think everybody finds themselves along the way changing their mental approach, whatever they think. The guy that's actually standing right in front of me right now has helped me in my mental approach a lot. He holds the record for pinch hits in all of Major League Baseball. His name's Lenny Harris, but he's phenomenal with that. His philosophy is just stay simple, hit a line drive to backside, stay inside the ball, short quick swing, and if he makes a mistake and I get out in front of it and it's a home run, then it is. But if not, why not just stay simple and short to the ball? And that's kind of what I've tried to take in and kind of establish as my game is line drives overall. Try to be a good, smart hitter, working from gap to gap and not just trying to pull baseballs down the right field line.
Yeah, I keep saying yeah after questions and it just comes out. That bothers me. Um,
No, you're good.
um, so 2020 obviously was tough. You had the COVID year, you couldn't play your, sophomore season in pro ball. How did you spend that time, away from the game and try to, still further your development as a professional baseball player?
Yeah, so I was hitting with a few different groups of guys. My dad helped put together a batting cage in my side yard, so we would have a few guys come over, whether that be Ben Gamble, who's from the area, who's now with the Pirates. He's the outfielder for the Pirates. He came over and hit a few times. Other professional baseball players in the area, college guys like Colby Halter came over. Hickey would come over. Um, and wisely with a raise organizations having phenomenal success in the minor leagues, and all those guys would come over and we'd just be able to talk about hitting, talk about approach, and that was definitely really helpful in that time to have some sense of normalcy, but then also be able to hang out with your friends, go on the boat, go fishing, wanted to do. It was nice because I haven't really had a summer like that, and hopefully won't have another summer like that for quite a while. But yeah, those guys definitely helped you stay in the mental part of the game. And then I was fortunate enough towards the end of the season, I got to go up to the alternate site in Cincinnati, and I was surrounded by tons of ex big leaguers, current big leaguers, about to be big leaguers, and like being able to be in the locker room with those.
Oh. Please stand by during these technical difficulties. There you are.
Lose you?
I think you popped out there.
Watching those guys take ground balls. Okay. Yeah, watching those guys, talking to those guys, seeing their approach, seeing the way that they handled their business before we got into the game was all kind of mind-changing, mind-blowing. Like being able to pick those guys here, really special time. And I'm really glad I got to be able to do it.
Yeah, and I mean the Reds have some legends there. You got Joey Votto at first base, and last year they had Nick Castellanos, Jesse Winker, and there's so many guys that pop in and out of a minor league team. I went to a minor league baseball game, AAA, the other day, and I recognized at least 5 guys that I had seen play in the major leagues. And it really shows,
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine what it's like to be playing with those guys that, one day you're watching them on TV, the next day they're your teammate. That's got to be really cool. And then 2021, you were off to a really good start. And first, before I ask this question, are you comfortable talking about, your surgery and your recovery there?
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So the question I got for you is, what was your initial reaction to, the news that you were going to have Tommy John, and how has that road to recovery been?
Oh, it was definitely a bummer.
Oh, no.
There we go.
Here we are. Yay.
All right. Yeah, I was having a great time with those guys. And when I heard the news, I was definitely upset. Wanted to be able to complete the rest of the season, but obviously I knew I wasn't going to be able to. So at that point, I kind of just understood that it was going to be a year or a long time without baseball, and figuring out my body, my routine, what I wanted to work on for this next year, whether that be my core, my speed, or just to be in overall better shape. I knew I was going to have a lot of time to work on my throwing mechanics, strengthen my arm, strengthen my shoulder, just strengthen everything that I needed to do to get it out of the way and make sure it's not going to be a problem for me in the future. But yeah, it was a big blow, but I definitely, the guys in Arizona and the rehab department and all of the the players rehabbing out there made the time a lot better than it could have been. At first I was really bummed out, really upset to see all my friends playing while I was stuck in Arizona with a big brace on. But what I learned really quickly is it didn't have to be a negative experience. It could be a positive experience, working on my body, working on myself, getting my mind right for the upcoming season, all of the above. And those guys out there made it way easier. So I'm very thankful for them and thankful for their whole rehab process.
Absolutely. And I read Derrick Rose's book, and he'd mentioned that every time he had an injury, especially with his leg, his one leg would come back stronger than the other. Have you kind of felt your arms come back, stronger in a big way?
For sure. Yeah. We even have these things called DEXA scans, and it does a whole report on your body. It shows exact amount of muscle, fat, percentage, all of that stuff, each ligament, everything in your body. And on my most recent DEXA scan before I left Arizona, it came back that my right arm was like way stronger than my left at this point. And so it just shows that you put in the work, you're going to get to it. So now I'm trying to get this one back going. my left one back to normal.
I don't think I need an EXA scan to tell me that my right arm is way stronger than my left.
Isn't that right?
I think I need to work on this a little bit. So the road to recovery, and that's, how does that differ from a pitcher, which everything is with your arm? Of course you got your core and everything, but your main thing you focus on is keeping your arm healthy. So when it comes to a position player, how does that road to recovery differ from Tommy John than say a pitcher?
So it's actually a few months difference, because pitchers have to go through a bullpen progression where they're throwing off the mound for several weeks before they could get into a game. Whereas hitters, and for me, fortunately, it was my lead arm. So it was my right arm. So it's not that big of a problem with like extension and stuff like that, because it wouldn't have to pull back my ulnar nerve and mess with my ligament right there. So it being my right arm helped. But instead of having to do that rehab progression, I was able to just do a hitting progression, a throwing progression, and then get back out on the field. So
recently, in your first, God, Zoom is really frustrating me. Recently you were able to make your return, and in your first at bat, you ended up hitting a home run. I read that had to be, I can't imagine what that moment was like for you after being off the field for so long. How did it feel to put one over the fence, your first at bat back?
Oh, it was great. I started to feel like I forgot what that was like. But being able to do that was really fun. I had my parents and my girlfriend were there too as well. So being able, because they were with me through the whole process, every step of the way. And so being able to see them up there was a great time. And I know they were just excited, just probably even happier for me than I was. So
yeah, I can't imagine what that'd be like after. I mean, what was running through your mind, rounding the bases, around first base, did you have anything going through, or was it just kind of blank, enjoying the moment?
Well, at first I hit it and I was like, oh, that's probably going to go foul. I don't know if that's going to stay fair. And I knew I had the distance. I just didn't know if it was going to be fair foul. And I was around in the corner or around first base, and I saw the umpire get the signal. And then I just immediately touched second base, looked up, was trying to find my family. They sit in the same spot every time. And so I was like, oh, there they are. And I gave them a little point. I saw my mom standing up, so excited. So honestly, that's all I was thinking about. I just saw how excited they were for me. I just knew after all of that, I still got it in me. I'm still the same guy I was back before I had surgery. And that was kind of like a realization moment that I can still do this.
That's awesome, man. And watching games, a lot of the professional baseball players keep a straight face, rounding the bases after a home run. Did you at least, pop a little bit of a smile there?
Yeah, definitely when I family, my eyes lit up, my face lit up. But yeah, I'm telling you, that was pretty much all I was thinking about when I saw all of them.
Yeah. And do you have any goals for the rest of this season in mind that you'd be willing to share?
Yeah, for sure. Just kind of keeping a good mental head state, because season's going to have a lot of ups and downs, especially after not playing for a whole year. So just kind of keep my head up, keep my head in the even space, whether I'm doing great or I'm doing poorly. Just stick with the process, trust the process, not make too many crazy adjustments, just to stay focused on what I need to do and stay simple, and kind of work with it from there and have quality at bats, even if the results aren't there. Just getting back into the game, getting back into the flow of the game is what I'm trying to work on right now.
Yeah, and I mean, really rooting for you for the rest of the season, and maybe I'll be able to come down to Daytona and catch you before, get called up. But
no doubt.
Congratulations on the comeback and your start to the season here. And then I got a few would you rather questions for you to end out the interview. So would you be up for that here?
Let's go. Let's do it.
All right. So this is my go-to for everyone. Most of the people answer Italian, but would you rather eat, you're going out, you want your dream meal. Are you going to an Italian restaurant, or do you want some Mexican food?
Such a good question. I would probably have to say Italian. If it's like a big meal, probably Italian.
Yeah. I like pasta, noodles. I enjoy that more than, Taco Tuesday.
Yeah, exactly. So don't get me wrong, I love a good Taco Tuesday, but if it's a big meal, I'm definitely going Italian.
Now, I don't mean to be controversial here, but I brought two Reds greats. And if you had to get a hitting lesson from either one of them, are you going, you want to have a sit down with Ken Griffey Jr. or Johnny Bench?
That's a great question. Oh, I mean, I feel like I'm wrong I feel like I'm wrong if I don't say King Griffey Jr. He's just got the sweetest swing, sweetest left-handed swing I've ever seen, and obviously I'm very biased towards that. And he could just hit.
Man, he is a legend. I love watching Ken Griffey Jr. highlights. You're right, that swing is great.
I actually I got a funny story about him. One time I was hitting down in Orlando. I was with Barry Larkin, another former Reds great. And there's a few professional guys, a few big league guys down there hitting. And this one kid steps up to the plate and starts hitting. And he's got the whole like Ken Griffey setup. And I'm like, dang. I'm like in the background talking to, I think it was like D Gordon, like Willie Adames. And I'm like, yo, this guy looks just like King Jr. Like, it's crazy. And they all just started laughing. The kid turns around and like shakes his head at me, and I was like, "What?" And they're like, "That's his kid, bro. That's Trey Griffey Jr. or Trey Griffey, the third King Griffey." And I was like, "No way! Of course it is." And they're all just laughing at me because I had no idea. And turns out he played football for the Steelers. I think he was a wide receiver or something like that. And then I think he was saying he was going to pick up a minor league contract with the Mariners, but I'm not sure if that ever happened or not.
Man, that'd be a good story. I'm gonna look that up after I finish here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were working out. Did you say you were working out with Willie Adames?
Yeah, this was I think this was during COVID actually. Yeah, so Barry Larkin, he's a former Reds Hall of Famer. He puts together like just a little group of guys that work on fielding and all of that, and all of those guys are great fielders. Adames is amazing in the infield. Watching him take ground balls I learned enough just by watching how smooth he is. But yeah, I got to hang out with a couple of those guys. It was a really good time, but watching them play and watching them practice is surreal.
He's not going to get in trouble for that, is he? That's an NL Central rival there.
Oh, no. No, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I'm a Cubs fan. I got to play like Wilson Contreras today shirt on here. So
oh, there you go. Well, actually, now that you say it, this was when Adames was with the Rays, so it doesn't even matter.
Okay. So he's got a free pass there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the last one I got for you, you're a Florida boy. So you've got to like at least one of these things. Would you rather go surfing or fish?
Fish.
Fish?
Yeah. It sounds bad, but I'm pretty scared of sharks.
Yeah, I mean, I rescued a shark, and it was a little baby, but I brought it back, and I always like telling that story. It's just so cool to say. But
oh yeah,
sharks.
Speaking of that, that's so crazy. You asked me right when you asked me that question. My Spanish app popped up. What is your word of the like? It gives me a word of the day to use throughout the day, and it was tiburon, which is shark. That's really convenient.
What a world. But yeah, the sharks.
Yeah.
I was listening to the Chris Rose rotation, and he had I believe it was Tyler Glasnow on, and Chris Rose has brought up sharks because Glasnow said he loves the ocean. He made a good point. If by a small chance a shark comes and gets me in the ocean, then my time's just up. That's just
exactly.
Yeah, that's just it. Like, it's fine.
For sure. I agree with that at that point. Like if that's what it's come to, then that's what it's come to.
Yeah, nothing you can really do about it. If the world really wants me to have that, just whatever. I'm gonna enjoy. At least I'm in the ocean. I'm having a good time.
Exactly. Yep, for sure.
Well, Tyler, I really appreciate your time here today. I had a great time talking with you, even with Zoom's mishaps. But it was fun getting to ask you these questions and sit down with you.
Appreciate it, man. No doubt. Anytime.
Yeah, good luck with the rest of the season, and hopefully I can come down and catch you in Daytona.
Yeah, just let me know, man. Have fun talking to you. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Schlick Sports made in the River City. If you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Follow, leave a good review if you're listening in on a podcast platform. Big thank you to Tyler Callihan for joining me in this episode today. I had a great time getting to chat with him. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation as much as I did. But no matter what, I hope to see you next time here in the River City.